In this lesson, you're going to learn how to write an equation of a line in slope-intercept form when the slope is given and the y-intercept is given. And so the directions will usually say something like this. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line with the given slope and the y-intercept. Now, the equation of a line, it's asking you to write it in slope-intercept form. So just a reminder, this is slope-intercept form. So your answer should be in this form. So the form should be, and there should be slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form, and the equation should be in this form. Y equals mx plus b. So remember, the coefficient of x is your slope, and the constant we call b here is the y-intercept. So this is the slope, and this is the y-intercept. So that's where the graph crosses the y-axis. All right, so you've had experience with this, you've had practice with this in previous lessons, slope-intercept form. So let's look at this example. So the example, the first one, let's say that the slope is 1/5. So the slope is 1/5, and the y-intercept is -6. So let's say that's our slope, and that's the y-intercept. Now, I just want to remind you what the graph looks like, because that's what you're trying to find the equation of. So let's go ahead and graph this line, and you've had experience on graphing a line when the slope is given and the y-intercept is given. So let's remind ourselves about that. So remember, to graph a line, you need 2 points. So the y-intercept is one of them. Remember, that's one of your points. So -6. So I'm going to put I'm going to put a dot at -6, which is here on the y-axis. That's the y-intercept. And remember, the slope is positive, right? So since the slope is positive, the line should rise like this. All right, so remember the slope here is 1/5. So remember, slope is rise over run. So that's 1/5. 1/5. All right, now remember the rise is positive and the run is positive as well. So +1, +5. So the rise is +1. So that means from this point that's given, which is the y-intercept, you're going to go up 1 since the rise is positive, and the run is positive as well. So you can go to the right 5. So remember, rise, up, down, run, right, left. So up 1, to the right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's the other point. And so basically what you're doing is, given this line right here, you want to know what's the equation of that line. That's what you're trying to find, the equation of this line right here. So you're trying to find the equation of this line. What's the equation of that line? Okay? All right, and it's very simple. It's very simple because of this reason. The slope is given, and you're given the y-intercept, right? And so in slope-intercept form, which is the equation of a line, you're given the slope and you're given the y-intercept, and all you do is just substitute your information. So watch how simple this is. So y equals mx plus b. So y equals, the slope is given, which is 1/5. So you're going to say 1/5 x plus, and then b is your y-intercept, so that's -6. But don't leave it like this. We expect you to know that this expression right here means the same thing as 1/5 x, and then plus a -6 means the same thing as subtracting 6. And there's your answer. That is the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. That's the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. See how simple that was? Very simple. Very simple. Slope-intercept form. So that means this. I'm going to go back to the graph. So that means that the equation of this line right here is y equals 1/5 x minus 6. And that's simple. And remember, this problem was easy because you're given the y-intercept, which corresponds to this, right? And you're given the slope right here. Slope is 1/5, which is a coefficient of x. All right, and so that's it. That's how you do this. It's not difficult at all. All right, so let's look at number 2. So let's do another one. So number 2, let's suppose this time that the slope is -4/3, let's say, and the y-intercept is, let's say, 2. y-intercept is 2. All right, and so the easy problem is when the y-intercept is given and the slope is given, because of this reason. You want to write the answer in slope-intercept form, right? Well, in order to use slope-intercept form, in order to write an equation in slope-intercept form, you must know the slope and you must know the y-intercept. And you do. In both cases, you know both of those. You know the slope and you know the y-intercept. So all it is just a matter of you substituting those values into the equation, into the formula, into the slope-intercept form. So here's your answer. Y equals the slope, which is negative 4/3. You can say negative 4/3 times x, just like that. And then plus b, which is 2. And then that's it. You're done. There's the answer. Okay? Very simple, right? So that's the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Okay? All right, so that's it. And that's all you do. So let's look at 2 more. Just make sure you understand this. So here's number 3. So let's suppose in number 3, we have this problem. And so here's number 3. All right, number 3. So let's suppose we have that the slope is negative 1/2, and the y-intercept is negative 4. All right, so slope is negative 1/2 and y-intercept is negative 4. Whenever the slope and the y-intercept is given and you want to write the answer in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, that's an easy problem. So remember, to write an equation in slope-intercept form, you must know the slope, which you do. That's this. And you must know the y-intercept, which you do in both cases. And so there's your, well, you're going to have to simplify this, but let's see what we have so far. So right now you're going to do this. You're going to substitute what you know into this equation. So y equals the slope, which is negative 1/2, times x plus b, which is a negative 4. But don't leave it like this. Do not leave it like this. Don't say plus the negative 4, because you know you can simplify this to make it look like this. So that equation is equivalent to this equation. Y equals negative 1/2 x minus 4, and that's the one you need to write. Okay, so that's the equation in slope-intercept form. All right, so that's slope-intercept form. So remember, slope-intercept form is where you're given the slope and the y-intercept, and in both cases, you're given that. So very simple. All right, let's do one more. So this time, let's say the slope is 5. Slope is 5, and the y-intercept is 2. Slope is 5, and the y-intercept is 2. So just to remind you what you're trying to do. So let's just remind ourselves. So if you were to draw this line right here, so the y-intercept is 2, right? Y-intercept is 2, so that's where the graph crosses the y-axis. You're given that the slope is 5, which can be written as 5 over 1, and that's rise over run. And what you're trying to do, well, first of all, let's graph this. So when we graph this line, you're given a point, which happens to be the y-intercept, and you're going to go up 5 and then to the right 1, right? So we're going to go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the right 1. And so when you draw that line, you're trying to find the equation of this line right here. That's what you're trying to find. What is the equation of that line? And you just found it. Well, we haven't found it, but we're about to find it, right? And so the equation of that line will be in the form y equals mx plus b. And to use this slope-intercept form, I must know the slope, and I must know the y-intercept. And I do it for both. I know it for both. So y equals 5 is a slope times x plus the y-intercept, which I know is 2. And that's it. You can't do anything else to this. So there's your answer. So what we found is that this equation right here, the equation of that line, is y equals 5x plus 2. All right? And that's all it is. Okay, so that is how you're going to write an equation of a line in slope-intercept form given its slope and y-intercept. And so basically you're just using the slope-intercept form, and this is the easy kind, because in both cases you know the slope and the y-intercept, which is what's needed. All right, so that's the end of this lesson.